Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, children of all ages, it is that time again, your favorite time of the week, that time when the old humble guy himself stops in. Yeah, you were expecting somebody else, weren't you? Well, it's not her, it's just me. We are back in for. Where's the dadgum camera? Uh, the wrong camera on my face. There it is. The right camera is back on my face. You can see my all my stuff there in the background. Ignore that. I'm going to clean this shit up later. I promise. This is the 100,000 view check-in. I am the old humble guy. Um, Decidedly dressed down because it is a Monday morning and I'm about to get the car and drive halfway across the state of Texas and then turn around and come back. Um, Welcome to the 100,000 views update episode. I appreciate you joining me. I have not opened up my visual aids, unfortunately, but I'm going straight to there right now. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Subscribe today, please, and thank you. That helps us grow the channel. That helps us bring more awesome stuff to you. That helps us do more of the things that hopefully you want to see us do, including, but not limited to, making more delicious whiskey. And in just about 6 weeks' time, well, in about 2 days' time, you'll be able to just stop in and watch me making some gin. In about 6 weeks' time, you'll be able to stop in and watch me making some bourbon. Analytic tracking. AN. Where is it at? So what are we doing on our? Can I see? There it is. What are we doing on this particular sure today? Well, let me tell you what we're doing on this particular sure. We are. This is our 100. Our quest for 100,000 views. We are on. Where are we? Episode 9. We're on the 9th installment of our quest for 100,000 views. Um, I forgot what I put up there. Um, it's our 9th installment for the quest for 100 views. And in this episode, I was postulating last week and in previous weeks um, that there's certain tips and tricks for getting clicks and getting views. Our mission thus far has been specifically to get views. And what do we need to do? What do we need to change? What tips and tricks and uh, uh, habits do I need to employ in order to increase the views on the channel for the videos? And according to the data, what I've done over the last 6 weeks is working. The video last Friday's live music video with Greg Day was better than the Friday before with uh, Ryan Adam Wells. Ryan Adam Wells, a fantastic performer, put on a great show for us. Greg Day, also a great performer, put on a great show for us. The difference between the two programs, the first Friday program and the second Friday program, the difference between those two programs was that in the first Friday program, I did not even make an attempt to optimize the video stream. I didn't even make an attempt at it. I wasn't certain that my tech would be set up properly. I wasn't sure that the tech was reliable. I wasn't sure that we would actually have a stream. I wasn't sure if we had a stream that it would sound good. I wasn't sure if we had a stream that would look good. I wasn't sure that anything would work. So I didn't try to optimize it. Last Fridays, we did try to optimize it. And the results between the first Friday show and the second Friday show were remarkably, uh, uh, what's the word for it? Remarkable in their differences and remarkably clear in the difference in performance as well. And we're going to look at that. That is one of the things we're going to look at today. I'm also employing a little strategy because I was also theorizing and postulating. There's a lot of tips and tricks you can do, but one thing that I cannot do is I can't get spotted 1,000 views just because I'm a hot chick. And that is not to say that you cannot that the beautiful streamers that we have in the YouTube world and on Twitch and Instagram and all the places, the beautiful people who are out there don't don't work hard for what they do. Most of them do. There are definitely, without question, some of them who 100% coast on uh, the male's willingness to click on a plump, full sweater. Let's put it that way. There's several of them, but the ones that have long lasting, sustained channels, sustained growth, sustained audience connection. They're great streamers. They do great work. They do great videos. They work for what they do. But that's not to say there's not a subset of the population that doesn't. Just like me, for the last 2 years, I did not work at this at all. The difference is between me, however, not working at all and what I was trying to do, and other people who can just, show up and get pictures taken of them, is that I am not pretty. I am not pretty. So that is why, I was thinking about it and postulating and theorizing and being like, well, what if I was pretty? And that is where the genesis of this week's title screen came in. I could be pretty too. Y'all don't know that's not me. And in keeping with tradition, I did, in fact, put my face on, you can see me right up there above the K. I did put my face on the title screen. I always put my face on the title screen, but in this particular case, I just wanted to see what would happen. Uh, what would happen if I, um, you know, put somebody else's up there too. And, she's just a model that I pulled off the internet. Nothing. In fact, I think the search engine, search terms I used was seductive glance or seductive look at camera. Take from that what you will. But I used to do that too on blog posts when I would write a blog post. I'd put some very provocative terms in the search. So if you came across my blog for the wrong search and you gave me a thumbs down, I knew why you were there. So if you're going to give a thumbs down to this video, I know why you showed up. So don't even act like I'm kidding. But it was a trap. I totally did that. So let's look at the data from last week, shall we? Specifically, the data that I want to look at from last week. What is the well, let's start with the analytics. The analytics are easy to spot really fast. The line is a fairly clear-looking trend when we look at the views. And again, I'm the goal for this specific autoplay views in the home feed. Wait, we got a new thing. Here's the visual. Oh, come on now. Where's my visual aid? Give me the screen, thank you. All right. So what's it say? Autoplay views in this home feed will now be treated as views when determining click-through rate. Oh, interesting. And that was another thing that I wanted to play with this week, to see if I could improve the click-through rate in general. But I'll get to that in a minute. So this peak right here, this first peak. What is going on? Hang on a second. Something weird is happening here. There's the lower third, which I do not have turned on. Why do I have two cameras working right now? Turn off, HP. I don't need you on. Go away. Bye. Okay, so what we see, this first big peak here, right around late March 20th-ish, that was a shorts that dropped. Dropped some shorts. Such a child. But let's focus in on April, because that's what that's what I'm looking at now. March is gone. April's coming. April's here. April, we are at 292 views, which is ahead of where we were this time in March. And each one of these peaks, this was the first, the Ryan Adam Wells Friday Night Live, then Saturday. I don't recall what I did on Saturday. Oh, I did. I did a brief behind the scenes when I was making the trying to make more whiskey flight boards, but I had to cut that short because I had to go. I had a meeting at 3 o'clock that I had to go to. Didn't do a show on the third. This was our 100,000 views episode plus what else? What else did I do that day? Oh, another behind the scenes show. Yeah. So that was and then Tuesday was happy hour, Wednesday was happy hour, Thursday was happy hour, and then boom, Friday, live music Friday again. And this is the 71 compared with April 1st, which was 59. I did a much better job. Optimization worked. It improved the performance by what is that, 40%? 20 out of 40%, 20 out of 50. No, 20 out of 60. That's 30%. Then I did a live sip and chill on Saturday night, and I didn't do another show on Sunday. So I count this as a remarkable improvement from the week before. Happy hours they're holding steady, 20 something. I got to figure out. I got to decide if that's how I want to keep going with the happy hours. I'm not sure. I'm not sure at all. But watch time was also something that was a big deal. You can see the trend. It moved from 5.6 on last Friday to 14.6. So not only more people were tuning in, but they were tuning in and hanging out for longer, which I want to see that trend continue to move up and up and to the right, up and to the right, up and to the right. That's what we're doing here. The uh, lessons and habits that I'm learning over the course of this 100,000 views uh, project they're working. Is what I'm trying to say. They're working. Now we look at the reach. Is that what the one I want to see with the click through rate? Yeah. So the click through rate you can also see is trending up. We started at 3.6, 5.9 on Friday. It's a vaguely upward trend. We didn't have any real shows on Saturday and Sunday, so it kind of ticks back down. But you can see if the average click through rate is 3.2, everything above 3.2 is good, or right around 3.2. So that's above average. That's above average. That's above average. So our happy hours are not getting the click through rate that I would like to see. I would like to see it above average. But I was also looking to find some benchmark information. Benchmark information in the YouTube's world with regards to channel size, channel click-through rate, views, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it is really hard to get good benchmarking information, average across the community because there's a billion channels, a billion or so channels on YouTube. Everybody who is a YouTube user has a YouTube channel. Not everyone is an active uploading channel, though. So out of the billion or so channels that are 4 billion, I think, users on YouTube, maybe it's a billion that are actively uploading and creating content. And then out of that billion that have actively uploaded content, there's something like, oh God, I don't remember what all the numbers were when I looked at them the other day. There's only about 12% of all the channels in YouTube world have over 1,000 subscribers. And when you talk about the averages being skewed, I have 500 and something subscribers at this point. With 500 and something subscribers, I am somewhere near the 70th percentile, which is not bad, not great, not bad. It is what it is. I mean, I'm not. When I started this project, the goal of the project wasn't some mysterious magical number. I know I put 100,000 views in the title screen there, 100,000 views, but 100,000 views is not necessarily the the goalpost aspect of this project. The goalpost aspect of this project is to learn how to get more exposure, more views, and people actually tuning in to see my guests, to see our guests, to see our bands, and to see our brands. That was the point. That was the whole point, 100% of the point. Because if I can get, over the course of a month, 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 people to see or hear commercials, our branded content, our Old Humble content. Hey, find this whiskey at your local store, whatever, evergreen type of commercials that we can do, then I will have done something that small business owners are dying. They pay money to do. If I can, if I can use my tasting room and if I can use my facility to share what we're doing inside the distillery with more of an audience. I mean, of course, I can bring people in and, we can touch 30, 40, 50 people a day, whatever at the distillery. If I could do that same thing and send it out and touch 1,000 people a month or 30, 40, 50 people a day, I'm doubling our reach. And that's a fantastic win, not only for the distillery, but also for you fine folks who like to be entertained. I can hopefully share some of that entertainment with y'all. Hopefully. That's the ultimate goal. So that was the whole point of this dumb little project. Not necessarily to get, 5,000 subscribers, not necessarily to get 100,000 views, not necessarily to get any magic number. The numbers are great, but the numbers are a byproduct of simply doing better work, better work. And you got to work for this. That is another thing that I've learned over the last 6 weeks, 8 weeks or so, however long we've been doing this. You've got to work for it. You can't just, hang on a second. Hello? Go. All right. Had a quick little bit of business I had to take care of. Sorry about that. Welcome to live TV. Right, right. Anyway, but yeah, this is this is the sort of thing that you can't just wave your hand and make it happen. You have to actually put effort into it and put work into it. But you have to put effort and work into it in a way that is productive. And so you have to learn the algorithm. You have to do the things that need to be done in accordance with the algorithm to make things to A, connect with your audience, B, connect your audience, then I have to connect with the audience, and then I have to turn around and connect the audience back to our videos, and then I have to hold them into the videos to keep them around. So these are all, we've gone through a process of getting good advice, bad advice, sifting through the good advice and bad advice, putting in the SEO stuff. The SEO stuff is some of the best stuff. The best stuff for the best advice stuff that we had as far as uh, making everything work. I'm seeing some strange numbers popping up over here on my up here on my screen, telling me issues with our frame rates and skipped frames from encoding lag. We shouldn't have any of those right now. My nose itches. But a telltale sign of the work that's been happening over the last month and a half and what we're going to try for next month or this next week. Um, Specific goals that we're looking for next week. If we look at our traffic sources compared to the first, 10 days of April compared to the first 10 days of March, period over period, If we go from March, y'all can't see what's happening right now, but trust me, I'll show you in just a second. Calm down. March 10th. Yeah. Okay. So let's go back to our visual aids. Let's let everything load up. You can see the first 10 days of April, our browse features were kicking ass. Channel page, not so much. Direct or unknown connection, we are kicking ass. Notifications, people clicking through from notifications, that's doing well. And people coming to us from YouTube search, that is also doing well compared to the first part of April. Now, what I would also like to see is, this is views. Is there a click-through rate by traffic source? Yes, thank you. Our click-through rates. Now, this is what I'm going to work on this month. This is something that I want to focus on this month. Our channel page click-through rate is high, 7.1 this month versus 4.8 last month. 4.0 from browse features versus 4.4, so it's about the same compared to last month. Suggested views, 1.5 versus 2.3. We're a little bit low on suggested views, so people are seeing and not clicking through. And then 1.2 versus 0.8. Now that and that's from YouTube search. Now, one of the other things that I am going to work on this week and next week, I'm trying to pare down the list of topics that we talk about on our whiskey happy hour shows to kind of improve the engagement rate, improve the click-through rates. So that's going to be the goal. One of the ways to improve views. And this is true when you're selling cars. This is true when you're selling whiskey. This is true when you're selling financial services. This is true when you're selling bank accounts. This is true when you're selling anything. The more people you engage, the higher your, the more people you engage, the more chances you have to succeed and or fail. So when I'm selling whiskey, I talk to every single person that walks through the door of the store. Every single person I engage with, every single person comes through the door. If it's a low traffic day, I'm going to have the highest odds possible by engaging every single person. If it's a high traffic day, my odds just continue to go up. And then the next thing is to make sure you have an engaging presentation. Would you like to try my delicious whiskey? You know, that may get them connected, that may not. Same basic principle when it comes to thumbnails and titling. I want to engage them, connect with them with a good-looking thumbnail. Bam! Grab them, get them on, and an interesting title. And my titles in the past have tended to be generic, and I tend to steer towards generic titles rather than specific titles because I don't always know what I'm going to talk about on these shows when I set them up. I kind of set up the show and then move myself into a specific topic as the show gets closer, as I start to focus on more. But this week specifically, I want to get my my click-through rate higher. So I'm shooting, you know, I want to get less twos and more threes and more fives and sixes. That would be awesome. But when you have, the more people you engage, that percentage of people you engage and get and hook in, that is how you increase. I mean, those are the people who are the easiest to convert. They're already in the store. They're walking past the store already. I don't have to go get more people to walk past the store. They're already walking past the store. All I need to do is get them to turn their eyes towards me. Come on over here, over here, over here. Hello, 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 hello. I just have to get their attention. They're the cheapest ones to get. You get that click-through rate to go up. These are people who are already going past the store. You're just trying to get them to come in. You don't have to get them to come from other streets to come past your store. They're already here. So get the click-through rate up, get the views up, get the views up. I'm moving towards accomplishing my goal. Now, of course, the next part of the pipeline is that whole length of viewing time part of the project. And that's just making better videos. That's doing more engaging stuff with spinning logos and bottom third stuff and maybe some animation stuff and just more engaging topics, having more visually engaging, having the topic more mentally engaging, doing all that stuff. But I'll get to that next week or the week after. One thing at a time, one part of the process, one part of the project at a time. So this week, the goal this week is going to be to get that click-through rate up. For the average click-through rate for last week was, where were we for the last week? So we go April 3rd through April 10th. Our average click-through rate is 3.1. For the previous, from the 1st through the 4th, was also 3.1. But I think I went one day too far to the 4th. Switch over to the visual aids. From the 1st through the 3rd, there it is. That was not 3, it was 3.0. So I'm trying to get this up above 3, consistently above 3. I want to push it up a little bit higher. And 3, from what I've read, is a good, it's a good click-through rate. You know, when you have 15,000 people, 15,000 impressions over the course of a month, 3% of them is not bad. 3% of 15,000 is, what, 450? Is that right? That's not right. 4,500? 3% of 15,000. 15,000 times 0.03 is 450 views. That is not enough for us to hit our benchmark for this month. Our goal for this month is 850 views. But of course, that's also just click through on the browse feature, so it's not the entire story, I don't think. Yeah, 5,700 is where we're at. 5,700. Let's do the math real quick. 5,700 times 0.032 is, yeah, that's 182 views all by itself. So we need, there's more coming from other channels and other avenues. But, you know, we need to get, I want to get not only the impressions, not only the views, but eventually the actual time. So this week, the goal, the tips and tricks that I am going to apply is I'm going to work on better topics, better. So when I set my lineup, my Monday, Tuesday, Thursday lineup, or Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday lineup, I'll have better topics. We're going to do Ukraine on Tuesday, which we've been doing. I'm not sure 100% what we're going to do on Wednesday. I'm working on branding our Wednesday chats, our Wednesday happy hours with a philosophy, with a whiskey meets, or philosophy and science meet whiskey type of theme, where we discuss, I don't know, scientific topics, philosophical topics, you know, love, hate, round Earth, because, you know, the science around how our casual observations confirm that the Earth is round and what we can see. I've got a lot of good ones on that one, just in the last couple of days, of just, you know, casual observations of the world around us, like, you know, distance between cities and things that you see in the sky and things that you see on the ground and stuff like that. In fact, that's probably what Wednesday's show is going to be about. More casual observations of the southern hemisphere that confirm the shape of the world we live in. And then, of course, Thursday is our trivia night, and that's growing, and we're actually going to be taking our Thursday night trivia night live at the distillery, if not this week, next week, when we'll actually have a crowd at the distillery as well as online doing trivia at the same time, both here and abroad, or here and worldwide. And then, of course, Friday night live, I'm going to work on improving the thumbnail, improving the thumbnail, improving the graphics, improving the entire production quality of that. This week we have a great performer in the Kimbros. So we're going to have a great show, and the ultimate goal with that is to get it up over 100 views. Hell, get it up over 1 million views or whatever. I don't know what the ultimate goal is going to be. Just more views in general, because the performers and artists that we have coming for these shows are really fantastic performers. They're really fantastic. They're really entertaining, and you can just, you can literally turn it on, sit back, have some dinner, and just enjoy a damn concert. You know, pour yourself a drink of whatever your preferred beverage is, and sit back and just enjoy the concert. Put it up on your screen. You have smart TV. Put it up on your screen. Just watch it and enjoy it. Anywho, So I can't drag this out too much longer. I do have to hit the road and go across the state of Texas and then come back for um, for this evening. But I will. Ooh. Uh, but sorry, got a text. I need to. A friend of ours got a bit of a fender bender on their way to work this morning because of the weather. But the weather's cleared up now. It's going to be a nice trip into Central Texas and back. So there you go. And as always, if you have any other questions, Sultan of Things 1814. Cheers, Sultan. Cheers to you. And I'm enjoying a nice hot glass of mostly water here, and I hope you are enjoying a glass of whatever it is that you have at whatever time it is where you're at. It's about 9:30 this morning right here, so there you go. But you caught me just as I'm wrapping up. I'm wrapping up. I'll do one more quick run through, kind of a recap and summary. The analytics from last week to this week. The whole point of this project was to get more views for the channel because the first 2 years of me doing this channel, um, oh, your friend lives in Texas. That's a good friend to have. The first 2 years of doing this channel, which are actually coming up on our 2-year anniversary of uh, our first happy hour, as a matter of fact. April 23rd, I think, was the 2-year anniversary. The first show when we were doing the quarantine cocktails was March 2020. And our first full-on quarantine cocktail happy hour was April, I think, 23rd. So we're coming up on a 2-year anniversary. But for the first 2 years of this, literally nobody was watching. I did not put in any effort whatsoever to expand my audience, to expand the reach, to connect with audiences. I put in zero effort. And the lesson that I've learned over the last 6 or 8 weeks when I've started doing this was you absolutely have to put in some effort, um, unless you're gorgeous. If you're a gorgeous individual with the particular talents that appeal to young male audiences, then you don't have to put in as much effort. But if you want to sustain your audience and continue, uh, you're on the 70th happy hour. You were on the 70th happy hour. Oh, shit. Now I've got to go back and like look at my. Well, thank you. I've got to go back. I don't recognize your screen name. Sorry. I've got to go back and look at all my videos and find out who exactly you were. I'll do that later. I'm not going to do that live. But I appreciate you coming and joining. Thank you. Um, cheers. So the goal, ultimately, is to get more, not necessarily 100,000 views, because 100,000 views would be awesome, but to get more views for the channel, so that when we do have guests like Sultan of Things 1814, when we do have guests coming on the show, the guest will be seen, their talents will be seen, band's talents will be seen, and of course the brand that sponsors the channel will be seen and have more visibility. That's the whole goal. That's the whole goal of doing this stuff, not doing it. The Raptor one. Okay. Raptors. Raptors video. If you were on the same if you were on the same video, the same happy hour with Raptor, that would have been the 100th episode, probably. Uh, huh. But yeah, Raptor, I don't remember which one was Raptor. But that was a great show. Um, that really was a great show because Raptor's a great guest. Raptor. That would have been. Uh, Raptor was on the 100th episode and he was on the 40th episode. Those were the 2 episodes that he's on. In fact, Raptor's episode is the 40th episode of our show. There it is. The 40th episode of the Raptor show. That is quickly approaching 1,000 views. That's kind of cool. And then our 100th episode, he came back on as a guest. So there you go. But yeah, that's one of the best shows we ever did. He was a fantastic guest way back in the day. And that was even before I knew how to optimize. And that was before I was trying to engage with audiences and stuff. He's a great guest. I love Raptor. I like watching his videos. I like watching his games. I like his voice in the background. I will turn on his videos while I'm working just to kind of hear him going through his processes of building things and talking and whatnot. It's very much like listening to talk radio or radio in general. Um, so there you go. What else? But that's the ultimate goal. That, like I've said, I guess I've said that 1,000 times now, is to get more views for our guests, for our bands, for our brands, and to make this space a valuable space, not just for us here at the Old Humble Distilling Company, but for y'all in YouTube land, so that y'all can be entertained. What small amount of entertainment and light that I can shine into our dark existence. Yay, us. Boy, that sounded pessimistic, doesn't it? What small amount of light that I can share so that you can spice up your life just a little bit more, and enjoy yourselves, and so we can, enjoy ourselves, have a little bit of fun. This whole channel started as a way for me to occupy my time during the pandemic. I was bored out of my mind. I was 100% bored, and we were shut out of stores and we didn't have anything to do. So I was like, I got to I got to work on keeping the brand fresh and get the brand out there and continue to talk about it. So that's one of the reasons why we started this channel, but also because we had a bunch of performing friends who lost all their stages and lost all their opportunities to perform. So we were able to bring them into the show, and be able to interview really cool, interesting people like comedians and sideshow performers and bands, singer-songwriters, uh, gamers, other YouTube creators, be able to interview all these people and have really cool conversations with them, and just talk, chill out, talk just like we used to do in happy hours. And then I switched over some of the tech, and it became really hard to have guests on the show, so I kind of quit doing guests on the show. But now I'm going to start bringing guests back on the show, and that'll probably be where we go with our Tuesday night shows, and as we move away from Ukrainian war updates and towards more current events and interesting guests, we can start doing stuff like that. And then, we do that on Tuesday nights. We'll do whiskey meets science and philosophy on Wednesday nights, and then Thursday nights we'll do trivia. And then it'll be fun. We'll just continue to grow it. And then on Friday nights when we do our live music, live streamed concerts from the Old Humble Distilling Company, where we actually set up a camera on our front porch and have bands perform live for you from our home. Uh, exactly, Sultan. It's just like a podcast. That's the whole point. That is the whole goal, is to have just a. It would probably be better if I did a podcast without you having to be subjected to this. An actual audio podcast where you didn't have to see this. Maybe I could cover it up a little bit, make it more visually appealing. I don't have a mask or a overlay that I could put on to make me more visually appealing. But it's all right. I'm not a hideous monster. Just a monster. But anyway, that's the goal for next week. Increase the click-through rate from 3%, 3.2% with that's where we've been at so far in April, 3.2%, which is not bad. But to kind of juice that up a little bit, try to nudge it up a little bit above 3.2, increase the impressions so that we can increase the views. We're ahead of pace for views from last week, or from last month. The same time last month, we were a little bit behind where we're at right now in April. And if everything goes well, if everything continues for the rest of April, the way it has, the way April has started, the last 20 days continue the same way the first 10 days proceeded, we might have our first legitimate 1,000 view month, which is pretty damn remarkable. Like I've said before, in the past we've had a couple of viral videos that blew up, and when we started in February, we had something like 40,000 views on the channel. But of those 40,000 views, a little more than half, probably close to 22,000 of them, came from something like 4 videos. And going into the beginning of February, we had something like 180 something videos on the channel. So we had a whole lot of people not watching. People were staying away in droves. And that's why, as I was making plans to start these live music Fridays at the distillery, starting at the beginning of April, I wanted to I wanted to make a conscious effort to make sure that people were tuning in and people were seeing the bands, because the worst case scenario was that we'd have a small crowd at the distillery and no crowd online. I want at least a small crowd at the distillery and a large crowd online. I would much rather have a large crowd at the distillery and no crowd online, but if we're going to do it online, I wanted to have a crowd. That's the whole point. That's always, always, always the point. If you're going to do something, you want it to be seen. Um, I don't mind necessarily if it's just me doing stuff into the ether. You can get away with all kinds of crap if nobody's watching, but that could also get you into a lot of trouble. It gets you into a lot of trouble. You always have to assume that people are watching, because the internet is forever. Remember that, kids. The internet is forever. Um, but that's what we're hoping to see next week. So expect to see shorts that are geared towards upcoming videos, steering people towards upcoming videos. I've been practicing. I've been working on it. I used to make short videos on the Facebooks and Twittergrams. Yeah, the Facebooks and Twitters, promoting events. And now we have an event every Friday, so I'm going to be making short videos. And I've honed my skill of making the 60-second pitch. That is a skill which is invaluable for business owners and business operators. Here in Houston, we have a guy named Mattress Mac, Jim McInvale, who was the master of the 60-second pitch. He would always talk really, 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 really fast, and he would cram as much information into a 60-second pitch as he possibly could. Um, his spiel was always, "Are you tired of ordering furniture and getting tired of going to buy furniture and always coming home to get back order slips? You can't sell a back order slip. Back order slips aren't you comfortable there now? You find they're not any great. Always come to Galley Furniture. Order today, get it tonight. Galley Furniture really will save you money." And he pulled money out of his back pocket. And that is his 30-second pitch, 60-second pitch. When it was a 60-second pitch, he would just say more. And he would always talk that fast. He was always, always, always just blasting through his scripts. That is a skill and a technique that is not necessarily instinctual. It's almost always something that needs to be learned. And I know 2 weeks ago we talked about how to use shorts to gain more views. And I can almost always drop a short and count on 100. That's cheap, but it's also cheating, because that 100 views doesn't actually build the channel. The whole goal of anything you do, whether it's in business, whether it's in YouTube, whether it's in academics, whether it's in um, I don't know, relationships, is your actions should work towards your ultimate goal. And in our case, the ultimate goal is more views for the performers, guests, and brand. Guests, bands, and brands. That is the ultimate goal. More views for that. And if I just drop a short of, "Oh, this is the thing," it doesn't translate into more views on Friday night for our bands, or more views on Thursday night for our trivia, or more views on Tuesday night with our guests, then it wasn't an effective strategy. But there is a way to use shorts specifically to promote your other content. And that is how, if you're using shorts, that's how they're most effectively used. So I've done a few one-offs where you just kind of drop it and go, "Look at the thing, it's pretty," and you get a lot of views from it. Whatever, a handful of likes, a whole lot of views. But now this week I'm going to make a concerted effort to try to do that. I'm not going to promise that it'll get done this week, because I got a lot of other shit to do this week. Um, and also shorter videos. Shorter edited videos are not my forte. 10 to 15 minute edited uploads are not my forte. This is my forte, a long form discussion type live stream. This is my forte. This is where I feel most comfortable. This is where I do my best work, I think. Uh, but being able to take clips of these, uh, drop them into a pre-edited, and clip it down into 17 minutes or whatever, that is invaluable for steering people towards our Thursday night show. Like taking Lisa's clips, or clips of Lisa's Unhinged series. dropping it, squeezing it into a 15-minute, dropping it down, and then you know, letting people watch that and having a little tag on the end. If you want more whiskey fueled nonsense, come check us out on Thursday nights at blah blah blah, whatever. Make it like a long form commercial. It's a 12-minute commercial, a 17-minute commercial, however long the clip would be. I have started one of those and successfully completed 0 of them. I'm going to get better at that. I'm working on it. I got a lot of other stuff to do. Maybe I'll start canceling. I got to pick a happy hour to not do. Maybe this will be the show that I don't do. Maybe I'll skip this show next week. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. And then eventually, we'll continue to work down the sales pipeline, the YouTube sales pipeline, from impressions to click-through rate to views to watch time to ultimately subscribers, and then it loops back with returning subscribers to get into the, well, it wouldn't go necessarily into conversion, but like kind of short circuit and go down into views and continue, because subscribers get notified. State of Fear, cheers, State of Fear podcast. Is this Chris or James? Welcome to the party, State of Fear. So that's the ultimate goal. Like I've said, we continue to focus on the ultimate goal of continuous improvement of the stream, continuous improvement of the channel. Work our way, and we're going to continuously work down that funnel. I've hacked the impressions. I'm working on the click-through rate from the impressions, and then the next thing is going to be the engagement level to have people hang around longer. And people seem to be hanging around longer, especially on Fridays for the music, especially on Thursdays with our trivia. Wednesday night, I'm looking at the topics. I'm going back and reviewing the topics on the Wednesday night shows to see which topics get the most interaction, the most feedback, and the most subsequent views after the fact. And it seems that, I know this is shocking, but it seems that the topics related to the casual observations that confirm the geometry of the universe around us, the amateur science, the casual observations of the world around us, those topics tend to be more engaging than the others, because it tends to touch on the whole round Earth, flat Earth. The first topic I did that was like that was, I had at one point hand waved past the math. What was it? It was casual observation. The first episode was casual observations of the round of the shape of the Earth, right? And that whole episode was about the shadows on the moon. How just from casual observations we can deduce the size of the Earth relative to the moon. The direction of shadows, which will tell you where objects are coming from, if they're coming at an angle or if they're just coming straight towards you. And we know that objects are coming in a perspective to where we are. They're coming straight. They're not coming around. So we know, just the casual observations of stuff. And the casual observations of the size and distance of, or the size and angle of shadows. Literally, casual observations. Like, you can literally look up at the moon and plot out where the sun is relative to where the moon is and where the Earth is. You can like look at it and you can see that, and then you can make deductions on the size of the Earth and all that stuff. And if the Earth is much smaller, then that changes where everything is. But we know the size of the Earth, and that makes sure we know. Anyway, that was the first one. And during that show, I just kind of hand waved past, we know how to do the math. The math is there. We know how to do the math. The math is simple. And a couple weeks later, it occurred to me that, it is simple. We should do the math. So I pulled out my whiteboard here. We did the math. We literally did the math. that confirmed the size of a round Earth, the circumference of, the shape of, the distance of the moon, the relative size of Earth to the moon, and then the distance of the moon to the sun, and the relative size of the sun to all of this. Just on the basic math that we already can do and see and know when it was simple, it was fun. Well, I thought it was. And then there was I think those were the two. I think I've only done the two. But then more flat Earth nonsense has come up since then. Somebody mentioned flight paths. They're like, "There's no flight paths in Southern Hemisphere." And last week I did a show on the marvels of pi and how pi is always constant. And then I thought to myself, I could combine those two topics. So we might do a further observations, further casual observations, because we know pi is a constant, 3.1415936 cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We know the constant. We also know the distance of certain cities from the North Pole, like, for example, Johannesburg, which is in the Southern Hemisphere. Which means we know if the Earth was flat, we know what the circumference, what the distance between cities at Johannesburg's latitude would be. And because pi is constant, because science is constant, because we don't live in a world of magic where things are one thing and are not another thing, where, we live in a world of science. We live in a world of rational, practical things where you can look at three things and triangulate. You don't have to know the shape of the atoms. You don't have to see the shape of the atoms to be able to deduce the shape of the atoms. You can see observations around objects and go, okay, this makes sense. This is how it is. You can deduce uh, results and answers, and then from those deductions you can extrapolate. These are all big words. I'm sorry. You get from those deductions you can then infer like larger. Now my microphone is back. I'm going to, yeah, people have a problem with this for some reason. I don't know why, but, well, I mean, I know why. It's because we're moral creatures. But that did not have as much legs as the trolley, as the flat Earth stuff does. Mostly, it's people trying to convince me that the Earth is actually flat. It's not, people. This isn't a discussion. It's not. It's not a debate. It's not. It's not a give and take. Anyway, that's the type of stuff that I'm going to be looking at this week. What are my topics going to be? How do I improve my topics for better click through and better engagement and better viewing time, so that we can continue to move the ball forward over the course of the rest of the month into up to and leading up to our Friday night, our big show Friday night, Thursday night trivia, Friday night music. That is it, guys. I've got to wrap this up. I've got to hit the road. It is 10 o'clock. It's been roughly an hour. It's time for me to go to Central Texas. I have no idea how much time I was on without any audio. Thanks for letting me know that, guys. Appreciate that. Appreciate it. Really do. Really, really, really appreciate it. Thanks. Thanks. Anyway, see you tomorrow night with updates. It should be our Ukrainian updates show tomorrow night. Maybe, I don't know, maybe we'll have a, it's kind of the Ukrainian update started off as kind of a therapeutic show, but I was certainly hoping that, what is that noise? Turn that off. I was certainly hoping that this would be wrapped up sooner, and that peacekeeping forces would be on the ground protecting NATO by now, or protecting our friends over in Ukraine, but they're not. So maybe we'll do a few more Ukrainian updates, and then I might start working in guests on our Monday night shows. Or Tuesday night. We'll see. I'm working on all this stuff. We're making this a better place for all y'all. Cheers. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for participating. We'll talk to y'all later. Cheers and good night. Bye.